So let's talk reality. And the reality is that those who hate us have created an insurgency against us. And that's just the facts of life. But there was compliance among this nation, this United States, because everybody wanted to be rich and nobody wanted to pay. And everybody said, let the children pay. And everybody said, it don't matter, there are no consequences for us. But let's review. So, the tax rate of the state of Illinois is 5% on income. The average payment of tax for federal purposes is 15% over. That's just the average. Social Security, which is a tax because it's already been spent, there is no such thing as Social Security anymore, not in real terms, not of your money. It's all a lie. That's 15%, 0.3% added on to your tax. The sales tax here in Illinois, where I live, is 10%. The property taxes for me is roughly 15%. The inflation rate they claim for the last year or two is 8%. And that, of course, is a lie. But nonetheless, they claimed about 8%. And there's more or less, I'd say 4% in miscellaneous license fees and taxes that are hidden within things that we pay, bringing us a total of 72%. Well, 72.3%. Of everything we earn goes to our government, goes to the people who claim to be our government, are in fact just former schoolmates, and they're trying to do what they can do, and most of them, based on what they get. But of course it's never enough. So they always want more, and it's never enough because the people who make the prices are the university diploma, and they want more money. And so because they want more money, they said, let the government pay. Let the government pay. We don't have to worry about it. Let the government pay. But of course in the real life, we are the government, and we have to pay. And since we couldn't pay, they counterfeited the money, and they created debts that will never be paid, saying, let the children pay. If you can't pay, let the children pay. So then we end up with $102 trillion of debt that the children are supposed to pay because, we're not going to do it. We didn't get anything for it. The universities took all our money and they spent it for something else. And we have $635 trillion in currency claimed today. And that means, divided between 100 million people, and that's $6.35 billion per each and every one of 100 million people. Yes, that's the number. 6.35 million per each and every one of 100 million. Or it's been raised, the inflation rate has been increased, or the currency has been increased by $542 trillion over the last 24 years. Or it's, $22.5 trillion per year is what it averages out to per year. So $22.5 trillion, $225,000 per year has been added to our economy per each of 100 million people. So, we've been able to have our cake and eat it too. Only, of course, it's all a lie. And that exists because the machines make it possible. And the machines make it possible because we steal the resources from the future, leaving the children to die, the planet to die, the planet to overeat, everything else. So let's look at what is the personal debt of the USA. And that's $25 trillion, $25.6 trillion, or 100 million people owe $256,000 each. That's the claim of what our nation is. And so that leaves $77 trillion that our employees, claiming to be government, spent on something. And of course that doesn't include our businesses and industry and what have you. They're all part of that. And of course in the reality, if you look around at what they did do, is they sold us out. They sold all the steel mills out. We can't make steel anymore. Not our own. We can't hardly do anything our own. And of course they've been selling off the nation to the people who say, your money is no good. Just give us something that is good. And so they've been just selling the nation off, even though you have to look for that. It's not a game. It's a reality. And of course, reverse mortgage and things like that are claiming property everywhere. And all they have to do is raise the price a little bit, and a few more go bankrupt and they buy that, and a few more go bankrupt and they buy that, and a few more go bankrupt and they buy that. And then of course the lying and the stealing and the cheating and the betrayal and the insurgency and the terrorism and all of that is the United States of this America. Raise your flag if you want to, but it is a reality that we are being thrown away. Our democracy is being thrown away. Our world is being thrown away. And everybody said, I don't care. 50 years I've heard, I don't care, because I'm making more money now than I ever made in my life. But of course, that meant that you had to steal from your children. That meant you had to steal from your world. That meant you had to steal everything that life needs so that it all dies in a tragedy of hell. And of course, you rehired Trump, which is why I'm here today. You rehired Trump, and you want him to bring back the way it was. Everything is free. There are no consequences for us. The university is God. There's no global warming. Everything is free, which is, of course, what Trump promises. He promises to be Hitler. Going to make it all better for us. Well, he's not. It's just civil war coming. It's just it's the same path as Hitler took, and you were taking it because you want what can no longer be. In Reagan's time, he was allowed to change what Carter was doing, which was to pave and bring us back to reality. And Reagan came and said, we're not doing any of that. And so he gave away control of the universities. And all the people said, that's where the money is. And of course Reagan was able to make things so-called better because he sold you out. He sold all the gold in Fort Knox. There is nothing left there. They don't even claim it. They claim $11 million worth of gold is what the Federal Treasury claims. And that was a few years back, and they probably don't have any of that, although they might keep a little bit. Here's where the numbers come from. U.S. debt clock, which is, the numbers are said to be from the U.S. Treasury. You can look at that. So, here's $102 trillion worth of debt. Here's $25 trillion of personal debt. Here's $635 trillion of currency. And this is the claim of back in 2000, it was $93 trillion. So you can look that up, usdebt.org. usdebtclock.org. Go ahead and look it up. And there are different things there that you can find. It's up to you. So the end result of it is that we stand at the door of life or death, really, because Trump is chosen to say that he's going to be like Hitler, and he's going to throw all the Jews out, which is of course what Hitler promised to do. So he's going to throw the Latinos out, or whoever it is that he targets as an immigrant. It doesn't matter. Nothing really changes because the competition has increased to the point where nothing is the same as it was, and everybody wants it to go back to what it was. But you can't go back to what it was because that world does not exist. We have risen by, over the last 50 years, literally over the last 50 years, by 84 million more mouths to feed each and every year of those 50 years. And that means that currently the world population rises of humanity by about 100 million or more each and every year. And each and every year those people grow and they need more, and that's over this. So 100 nations have to find a spot for 1 million more people every year. Those the 1 million who came this year, are going to be joined by the 1 million who come next year. And every year they need more. And we eat life. And you tear up every chain of life that there is. And the only thing that we can do to save ourselves is to rape the oceans, which is of course what you've been doing, and use fertilizers, which of course are going to run out, and destroy the water supplies with all the poisons that you create to do that. So I'm here for a final say, here for a final wake up, or you're going to die, because this is not going to work out the way you want it to work out. Hiring Trump to go ahead and be Hitler is not a plan. That's, it will end up just exactly like World War II did. Only it will end up with extinction, because weapons of mass destruction will be used. 8 billion people, take a look at that, there are a lot of people. Machine guns aren't even going to slow them down. Literally, machine guns aren't even going to slow them down once they get going. Because, and that means there will be wars. That means that's why nations have weapons of mass destruction. And that's why universities have created their own biological weapons of mass destruction, because they don't want to die either. And that's of course why NASA exists, to throw them, let them go away to different planets. But of course that won't work, because they can't take oxygen along. And that's just one of the tiny little things that matter. And the biosphere too proved that you ain't going nowhere. 7 million cubic feet of air when they enclosed it, and in 2 months they were fighting their way out because there wasn't enough air to breathe. You're not going anywhere. And the fact is that all the fossil fuels that you burn for global warming destroy the oxygen supply of this earth, and we will not breathe. And all the mutilation of nature means that Armageddon is coming. Chaos in nature is real. You caused it. You caused it. You created it. Or actually the universities did with your support. Because you are a cult, of course. The university alone decides. The university is expert. The university leads. The university runs everything. So on and so on. So I'm here to give you one last chance to wake up. Use your brain. Remember that human life, or all life, is built upon atoms. This body is made of atoms, as is yours. Can you put atoms together? No, you can't. And of course, if atoms exist, how did they get together in the first place? Well, they can combine somewhat, but can't create life. Thought is life, and thought has to be involved in that somewhere. And of course, thought makes a relationship that becomes biology, but biology does not make a thought. So anyway, the deal is that you need to use your brain, back up the clock, not with you can't take away half the people on Earth and turn it back to 1974. It's just not going to work. You can't replace all the resources that you threw away in the garbage. It won't work. You threw them away in the garbage. You can't let the earth die, or you will die. All of these things. No, you can't be what you want to be. You can't. Even if you believe it. And that's what, of course, belief is. I want what I want, and that's all I want, and I don't want nothing but what I want. I believe, therefore I believe, therefore it is, I believe. But of course that doesn't make it true. At all. Nothing about belief is actually usually true. And religion will hate that, and the public will hate that, and the government will hate that, and all the liars will hate that, and all the thieves will hate that, and so on. Because nobody wants to be revealed. Nobody wants, religion doesn't want to be revealed as the university is their God instead of, God. And on it goes. You have to grow up now. because you chose, you're on a slow path, and you suddenly increased it to overdrive, because Trump is promised to be, global warming doesn't exist, and he's going to throw out everybody, and war is what he wants, and all kinds of things. It's just not going to work. It is the recreation of Hitler. And you can believe that or not believe that, doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to me, it matters to you. I know we all die. So the question is, and I'm 71 years old, so probably not that far away. So who knows? But we all die. Just how?